Toothy is an odd character. In that, what is he? The main thing with Toothy is that his personality is a bit hard to decipher. And it's not even just that. What's his purpose? His gimmick? His role? Is he a good character that the creators could use to their advantage? Or is he a lackluster addition to the main cast who doesn't have any merit to his name? That's why we are here today. We will try to figure out what the heck Toothy's identity is. This is Dissecting Toothy, a Happy Tree Friends analysis. So the first thing we should talk about when dissecting Toothy is the thought process behind his character's creation. Why does he exist? Where is he from? Well, we don't actually have much info regarding the really early stages of Toothy's creation. As in, this is the only piece of concept art of Toothy we know of. Here, you see that Toothy was probably conceived as a bit foolish and not too bright. He has the derpy eyes going on, and he's playing a game of catch with Cuddles using a bomb. As an aside, this piece of concept art was basically repurposed into this desktop background. Only this time Cuddles is replaced with Giggles. While we don't have much concept art for Toothy, we have seen various prototype designs for Toothy that are animated. For one, he was in the pilot, Banjo Frenzy, and he actually has quite a significant role compared to Giggles and Cuddles. After he gets decapitated by Dino Lumpy over here, Toothy's head somehow comes back to life and bites Lumpy in the leg as revenge. This is definitely odd. You don't see characters' heads coming back to life to get back at their perpetrators. So this is obviously just a weird gag that was made before the show had gotten its footing. The first official episode Toothy is in was, you guessed it, the first official episode of Happy Tree Friends. Spin Fun Knowin' Ya. Here, Toothy has his actual design. Although, there's a little addition that's unique to this episode. Toothy has strands of hair. My guess is that it's a leftover of those tufts he had in Banjo Frenzy. Of course, apparently Toothy had a haircut after Spin Fun, as he's now a balding boy in the rest of the show. Well, except for the intro of the remaining Season 1 episodes. But that's a whole different story. Since Spin Fun Knowin' Ya, Toothy had maintained a consistent presence in the show. He might not have much personality, but he's definitely a series regular. Seriously, there's hardly an episode where he's not present. As of now, he has the 4th highest number of episodes, only being surpassed by the other 3 characters who appeared in the pilots we've mentioned earlier. Overall, Toothy is definitely one of the most iconic characters. His cute freckled bucktooth beaver design is easy to recognize, and he's hard to miss considering he's in most of the episodes. He also starred in Eye Candy, which is, without a doubt, one of the most iconic episodes in the show, period. It even won an award. In fact, Toothy's kind of everywhere when it comes to the most iconic episodes. Class act, he's the one singing. Double whammy, he is the one who gets faked out. Spin Fun Knowin' Ya, the very first episode, he's the first character to die, which makes him the first character to die in the whole series. As for merchandise, again, Toothy's everywhere. He's gotten figurines, plushies, desktop backgrounds, video games. If a big set is being made, you can bet Toothy's gonna be there. Toothy's just extremely prominent overall, which you probably wouldn't guess if all you heard about him was that he's undeveloped. In the first 2 seasons, he had plenty of starring roles. He gets put in a body cast, performs a dental operation on Nutty, encounters the Idol, plays hide and seek with Flippy, and we already have the bombshell that was Season 2, where Toothy was in both Class Act and Eye Candy. However, despite his high prominence, he doesn't have a real starring role in the TV series. And before you say anything, Autopsy Turvy was a fake-out. Outside of that, while Toothy had his fair share of screen time and roles, and he has some significance, he doesn't have a true episode where he's the main focus, which is something even Chromarmot has. This also caused Toothy to miss out on the chance for potential character expansion, as most characters like Petunia, Disco Bear, Giggles, and Mime had received much-needed characterization that made them less bland and basic. However, Post-TV seems to make up for it, as Toothy actually has his fair share of starring roles. He had 2 episodes entirely to himself, and both played out quite similarly to Eye Candy, where it's just Toothy being subjected to all sorts of gory slapstick. Outside of that, he gets a pretty big role in We're Scrooged and plays a major role in Camp Poke an Eye Out, where he and Cuddles fight over a misunderstanding. Overall, Toothy isn't as underused as one might expect. Yeah, he's sometimes overshadowed, but he has a lot of spotlight and gets more love than several of the show's other, less developed characters. But what about his actual personality? A common debate in the HDF community is Toothy's personality. Whereas for most characters, it's easy to pinpoint their personality, Toothy, aside from his gapped teeth, doesn't seem to have a concrete one. His main gimmick is that he is an everyman. He can be put in virtually any situation. Even then, this flexibility isn't necessarily unique to Toothy, since the same can be said about Cuddles, Giggles, Petunia, and even Lumpy, who all have more defined personalities. His blandness is also reflected in his design. Unlike most characters, Toothy doesn't wear accessories or clothing of any kind. It's not a bad design by any means, and he still stands out due to his buck teeth and freckles. But he's marginally more distinct than the show's actual background characters. But how do the creators describe Toothy's personality? Well, in an AMA, they have this to say. Toothy and Cuddles don't have real strong personality quirks like some of the other characters. They are pranksters though, and when they're together, they like to pull pranks on other characters and even one another. Toothy likes brushing his teeth, and Cuddles loves to skateboard. From this, we can at least gather that the closest Toothy has to a main gimmick is his gapped teeth, obviously, and being mischievous just like Cuddles. We have seen bits of the latter in a few episodes, either alongside Cuddles, such as from A to Zoo, where they poke sticks at a bunch of animals, or by himself, such as Cold Hearted, where he ruins Crow Marmot and Giggles' date by throwing snowballs at them. Personally, I think this is a good personality trait for Toothy. If nothing else, Toothy being Cuddles' partner in crime makes for a really fun dynamic. As a whole, the relationship between the two is always a treat to watch. They just have great chemistry, and they've been the stars of many great episodes, such as Camp Poke an Eye Out, which is the one time they get into a fight with each other. As for his gapped teeth, it's definitely Toothy's most signature trait. The show often make use of this trait as well. Like, of course, Toothy is Nutty's dentist. There's an entire episode dedicated to Toothy's teeth, that being the Still Alive episode, An Inconvenient Tooth. While Toothy might not have a set personality per se, his teeth are unique and define him. If nothing else, since most descriptions of Toothy emphasize his longer teeth. It's not the most interesting character trait, but it does make for some really entertaining moments, like when Toothy breaks his teeth trying to bite open a can of food and later struck a nerve in the same tooth when he bites into a snowball. Also, on the note of Toothy being a dentist, according to the special popcorn video for Spin Fun Knowin' Ya, he's apparently wanted in several states and had tail enlargement surgery. The latter is also referenced in his official model sheet, but Warren says this isn't true. HTF isn't known for consistency, and most of the crew's statements aren't meant to be taken seriously anyway, so I wouldn't think too deeply about this. One characteristic of Toothy that most people can agree upon is that he's a crybaby. Yeah, this is without a doubt Toothy's most prevalent trait. He cries a lot, way more than every other character. Even Flaky and Cub. He basically cries in every episode. He's the main character, which is something the other two can't even say. A more minor part of Toothy's character is his apparent love of Splendid. While most characters love Splendid, Toothy is probably the most fanboyish about it next to Sniffles. He wears a Splendid costume in Remains to be Seen, and he's also seen fawning over him in Better Off Bread. Also, while Toothy doesn't get the chance to develop into a more interesting character in the TV season, he does get to do a bit more in post-TV. Here, he's usually seen working What I mean is, his first starring role has him fixing up a bike. His other starring role was about him gardening. And it seems like whenever Toothy has an actual prominent role in an episode, he's always seen doing some kind of chore or labor. Granted, this, yet again, ties back to his mostly disposable personality, and if you need a character who is a hard-working beaver, Handy is your guy. Also, he has a pet tortoise, which mauls Lumpy and eats him whole, which is pretty rad. I don't think I need to tell you that Toothy dies a lot, but did you know he has one of the lowest survival rates? As of now, his survival rate stands at 21.05%, surviving 16 episodes of his 75 appearances and dying in about 60 of them, which is a lot. Toothy is definitely an easy target, which once again trails back to how easily expendable Toothy is. In fact, he's constantly the first character to perish. There's many examples of this, but I think the most noteworthy ones are Spin Fun Noanya, which we established makes him the first official character to die, Treasure Those Idle Moments, which makes him the first character to be killed by the idol, and holding the honor of being Flippy's first official victim in both the web series and the TV series. Half the time his demise is what jumpstarts the plot. He's definitely the show's sacrificial lamb in that, if you really need a random character to die for setting the plot in motion, Toothy is your guy. That's something he's good for. But if there's one thing Toothy is known for, it's definitely his eye injuries. His most popular episode by far is literally all about him getting his eye pulled out. Since then, the show has a habit of giving Toothy scenes where his eye is damaged in some way. It feels like a running gag, since Toothy always stands out in these instances. Like, is there a better reason why they picked Toothy instead of Cuddles in Chew Said a Mouthful? He wasn't even in this episode. This phenomenon is further complemented by the fact that Toothy's basically in every episode that is literally about eyes. Well, except Eyes Cold Lemonade. It's not even just in the show. Literally all the marketing for Toothy is all about him getting eye injuries. Seriously, if Toothy's long teeth aren't his identity, then it's definitely his constant eye injuries. On that note, not only has Toothy suffered many eye injuries over the course of the show, but there's 4 separate episodes where he gets reduced to ashes. It's funny how these occurrences happen more than injuries to Toothy's teeth. Don't get me wrong, it definitely still happens, like we already established that they made an entire episode about them. But it seems Toothy is more so the show's poster boy for eye injuries rather than teeth. Heck, if anyone was known for having jaw-related injuries, it's Nutty. Toothy might be one of the most perplexing characters in this show. His personality can be interpreted in a variety of ways. Is he Cuddles' sidekick? Is he a dork? Is he a wimp? Is he the show's red shirt? Is he the guy who gets the most eye injuries? Or is Toothy just, well, Toothy? Honestly, that's what makes Toothy a bit more interesting to discuss. His lack of a defined personality makes him a talking point among fans, with many having their own ideas on what Toothy's character is. In terms of how he's used, that's another thing. Has he been used to his fullest? Or were his early starring roles just scratching the surface? It's a bit debatable whether Toothy was well used. He has plenty of starring roles, and even outside of that, he's featured regularly. Yet he doesn't have that many moments to shine, and he basically got nothing in the TV series. Personally, I think Toothy is a fun character. Sure, he might lack an especially unique personality, but come on, can you really hate him? While I can see how people can perceive him as bland, I feel there's other characters who get even less development. The mole doesn't have much going for him outside of his blindness, and Lammy and Mr. Pickles are severely neglected. Even with Giggles, what else could you say about her apart from her being pink and a girl? Toothy is a core part of the show's identity, and regardless of what you think of him, he's played a part in where the show is now,